Hi guys, this is Lyszczyk here. I just wanted to check in with you online kids to make sure that you understand fully what is expected of you. It's been a confusing 2 days. I totally understand, and we figured out, Mr. Bowers and I figured out that the online live is just not working. It's just not working for us. So we decided to set a schedule for you. So if you want to drop in and ask questions after viewing a lesson, then if you look on the website, there's a daily schedule of when you can. The last 15 minutes of every face-to-face class is going to be yours. Either Mr. Bowers or myself will answer questions for you. But please make sure that you went over the lesson before you jump in to that face-to-face discussion at the end of class. Now, the cool part about this is if you're in first hour, you can catch up at 6 hours little session. That's perfectly fine. Or you can set up a private meeting during that fifth hour prep time for us. If you're coming in and doing the face-to-face, this is going to count as your conference. Okay, your every other week conference with us. And so please make sure you do so. So let's go on to the lesson for today. We're going to be talking about something called the PANGEA. PANGEA is a theory that historians and anthropologists believe that at one time all the big land masses of the world were together like a puzzle, like connected as a puzzle. And we're going to look at some of the evidence that has come across to prove this theory of PANGEA. So let's get started. What I want you to do is I want you to pause the video for a couple minutes. And then I want you to go on the website and check out, there's a video clip that I want you to see from Ice Age. And when I saw this movie with my kids, I immediately thought, bam, I could use this for the first couple weeks of world history. So please watch this, and I hope you enjoyed the giggles. Welcome back. Wasn't that funny? It just cracks me up that actually it kind of proves this whole theory of Pangeia. Way to go, Ice Age. So what is Pangeia? I just went over that with you. This happened during the Planetizonic and Mesozoic period of development in the world. And Mr. Wagner, he was a PhD, he felt that at one time the world just all fit together, and he needed to figure out a way to prove it. And so he went and he investigated, like, how can I prove that one time we were one big supercontinent? Okay, and so let's look at the evidence that he collected, and then you make up your mind whether or not you believe that at one time we were all a supercontinent. Okay, so what I want you to do now is I want you to stop the video again, and I want you to watch this mini documentary called Continental Drift. And this will kind of divide up that evidence into four key categories. All right. Now, the face-to-facers are going to have a group discussion on what they viewed. But I want you to gather the evidence that you saw in the film, and then be prepared to fill out a Google document to answer those questions. Like, what evidence did you see in that film, or what evidence did you collect from online sources, which is totally fine. Now, the evidence that Professor Wagner collected was quite easy. The first one was geographical fit evidence. Like I said, at one time, did it look like our continent fit together like a puzzle? And then fossil correlation evidence, finding the same type of fossils on, total ends of the earth. Like, what an awesome discovery. And like, how did those fossils get there? And they're the same age. So, like, the only way they could do it is if they swim across oceans. And some of those animals we know is virtually impossible for them to do so. And then rock and mountain correlation evidence. Like the similarities to some mountain formations and the minerals, etc., inside the mountains are very similar to some others across the world. And then paleoclimate data evidence. Okay. That time period in history where the Paleotonic animals were roaming the earth, and they were all over the earth. So how they get there, kind of stuff. So that's just kind of cool. To me, this is like really a cool way of figuring out, whether or not we were all connected. And to me, it's I think it's a fun way to think about our world, because right now we're trying to go back to that feeling of globalization, coming together and working as a world, something a little bit like Star Trek. Okay, so what is your evidence? What I want you to do is I want you to open up that Google form, and I want you to start typing in the evidence that you found from the mini documentary and any other outside sources to prove whether or not you believe at one time our land masses were all together in one big Pangeria type harmony type thing. Now, when you're done, I want you to think about this question. So, if Pangeria is true, is the theory that Asian people are closely related to Native Americans true? I had a professor at U of M, and her specialty was anthropology, and she had her doctorates, but she was working on a project figuring out through DNA if Asian people are closely related to Native Americans, and how did they get here, kind of thing. And maybe we'll discuss that tomorrow. It was nice seeing you guys, and remember, be safe, healthy, and I always will love you no matter what.